Hey everyone, it's Mike, and I'm back for the Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 2 review. So the episode starts right where things left off, right in Dragonstone. There's a big storm going on, and Dany is reminded how she got her name, one of her many names I should say, which is Stormborn, on a night like that. After a brief exchange with Varys discussing loyalty, a visitor shows up, and it's Melisandre. The conversation is very revealing in the fact that not only do we get a mention that Jon and Daenerys are both thought to be the prince who was promised, but it's also the first time in the show that the prophecy translation is clarified to be gender neutral, meaning it could be Dany, or it could be Jon, or it actually could be both. Tyrion vouches for Jon and says he will be a useful ally to Dany, and to which she responds he needs to come to Dragonstone and bend the knee. Which came off as very arrogant to me, and the look on Tyrion's face makes it look like he would agree with me. Up in Winterfell, we get the North making preparations for war, and then we start to see Jon actually take heed of Sansa's counsel. Which is really important because that's something that's been discussed ever since last season, is whether or not Jon will take her seriously, if there's going to be a rift. So it looks like there's not, and Jon puts a decent amount of faith into her. Next up at King's Landing, Cersei is making her fear-mongering pitch to Randyll Tarly, reminding everybody about the last time dragons came to King's Landing, or Westeros in general, falsifying facts about Meereen, stating that she burned the Masters once she got tired of them, and then Randyll Tarly asks how they will be able to stop the dragons, and Cersei kind of looks over at Qyburn, whose response leads us to believe that he is engineering a way to destroy the dragons. Next, we get Jaime talking to Randyll Tarly one-on-one, trying to convince him to join their side, so it appears that Jaime isn't going to abandon Cersei just yet. And it would also seem that he might have Horn Hill fighting on his side, which is huge. It gives them a big strategic win, not only on position in terms of strategically positioning troops in Highgarden, but also they have one of the top commanders in Westeros. They mentioned that he was the only person to beat Robert Baratheon during Robert's rebellion. Moving over to the Citadel, we have Marwyn and Sam inspecting Jorah. Marwyn says that the spread is beyond anyone's knowledge to heal. Jorah is in actually pretty bad shape. The grayscale is spread all across his body. So Sam brings up Shireen Baratheon and the fact that she was cured. But Marwyn states that those were fairly extreme differences in circumstance, one being that she was caught very early on, and there's a lot of difference between, the dynamics of an adult and a child. So as Sam's leaving, he also discovers that this is Jorah of House Mormont, and this is going to make a big difference as to whether or not Sam sticks his neck out to try and help him, because doing this out of protocol could get Sam kicked out of the Citadel and end his training as a maester. But since he served under J.R. Mormont at the Wall, I think it gives him a little bit more incentive to actually go off and try and cure his son. In the next scene, we catch up with Qyburn in the dungeons of the Red Keep with Cersei, walking past the dragon skulls. And we come upon Balerion the Black Dread, whose skull is simply massive. Qyburn then shows us the weapon he's been working on to kill the dragons, and it's a scorpion. Now, it's important to know that in the first Dornish Wars, a scorpion was used to shoot down the dragon Meraxes that supposedly claimed the life of Rhaenys Targaryen. I say supposedly because there is a theory that she may not have been killed, and you can actually catch my video on this by clicking on a link at the end of this video. So Qyburn then gives Cersei a demonstration, firing it right at Balerion's skull, piercing right through it, desecrating Aegon's dragon in the process. Next, we get Missandei and Grey Worm having an intimate moment, so perhaps not all hope is lost for our cockless wonder Theon. Now back at the Citadel, Sam approaches Marwyn and states that he has found the cure, what he believes to be the cure, by reading a couple of books. Marwyn says that he has read the books as well, and that Archmaester Pylos, who had said to have had the cure, actually died from grayscale, so they don't practice that anymore. Next we get Sam approaching Jorah and claims that he can cure it by essentially flaying the grayscale off of him and applying some salve that he's concocted. Again, I would imagine this salve would include the ingredient of sulfur, which I have predicted to be instrumental in the cure for grayscale. You can also catch that video at the end of this one. Sam begins to remove the pus-filled skin, and HBO then ruins another meal for us, transitioning over to the pies that Hot Pie has cooked up. Next we get the first of what should be several Arya reunions this season, and it's with Hot Pie. And she learns from Hot Pie that Jon has taken back the North. She was completely unaware of this and immediately changes plans and heads towards Winterfell. Now, it's important to point out that all of Arya's attempts to reunite with family members have been quite unsuccessful. She's been trying since Ned Stark was beheaded. She gets very close to her mother in the Riverlands, but then the Red Wedding happens. She's then on her way to the Eyrie, but then her Aunt Lysa dies. So I'm very interested to see what happens here, since we know that Jon Snow is on his way to Dragonstone at this point. Next, we get a raven from Sam at the Citadel, letting Jon know that there is a huge cache of dragonglass on Dragonstone. So Jon gathers everyone up to let them know that he will be going to meet with Dany. Not surprisingly, most think it's a bad idea because of the actions of recent Targaryens. He lets them know that they have slim to no options, and this is where they need those fire-breathing dragons, and they need the dragonglass for the War for the Dawn. So in his stead, he's going to leave Sansa in charge of the North until he returns. So this basically solidifies his trust in that bond between the two of them that a lot of us were really concerned about going back as far as last season. Next we get a scene of Jon standing before Ned's tomb in the crypts of Winterfell. Littlefinger approaches him and professes his love for Sansa, to which Jon just chokeslams him against a wall, telling him to stay clear of her. No love lost there. So in the next scene, we get Arya surrounded by a pack of wolves. So all of the book readers at this point know that this is Nymeria, because in the books, for all of the non-book readers, Nymeria is running around the Riverlands killing Freys, and Arya actually kind of around the same time is also having wolf dreams, like all of the Stark children do, while she's training to be a faceless man. So Arya beckons this she-wolf over to come with her, and Nymeria turns and runs off. Then Arya states it wasn't her, which is a little confusing if you didn't read the books or watch the showrunner's commentary, because it actually is her, but it isn't who she was, or once was, or could have become. Wait, what? And moving right along to our final scene, we get some Yara on Ilaria action, that rhymed, getting into a heated love scene when they come under attack. Ladies and gents, we have our first battle of the season. Euron has run them down and is going after the gift he promised Cersei. So I thought that this gift that he was promising her was going to be Dragonbinder, but it looks like it was Ilaria all along. They wipe out the Sand Snakes, and Euron turns Theon back into Reek. Theon is overboard, and I think Gendry is actually rowing to save him right now. So that does it for this week's review. Again, you can take a look at the Cure for Grayscale video, as well as the video on Aegon the Conqueror, to find out about how Meraxes perishes. I'll break down the episode 3 trailer this week. I'm hoping to have some time by Wednesday to do so, so make sure to subscribe to my channel for the updates. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.